So I've got a selection of updates from the Pact community, and I'll be introducing some special guests. So first off, there's too much activity that happens in the Pact community to be able to contain in a single update, even if I had the entirety of today to tell you about what's going on. So every single month, we post a roundup of the month's activities. You can go to it on docs.pact.io/blog. It's published monthly, every third week. It's got all the latest changes across the open source. We focus, or we try to focus with a community corner section every month. So if you're doing something in the Pact community and you'd like to share it with others, feel free to get in touch with us in the Pact Slack or drop me an email and we can get you featured. Also, if you are doing events or talks or videos or any kind of material, just feel free to let us know and you can get featured on our blog. And I've got a special guest to present to you, or to bring to the Pact fold. So it's Joshua Ellis. So Joshua Ellis has joined us under our parent company now, SmartBear. And he has been given the good fortune to be able to work on the open source project as part of his full-time job. So without further ado, I will introduce to you Josh Ellis.
Thanks, Yousaf. That's great to be here. And yeah, so like Yousaf said, I joined SmartBear a little over a month ago now. So I'm probably the newest member in the whole Pact and Pact Flow ecosystem. So and I come from a background in academia, so I'm really keen to contribute the kind of the open aspect of the open source tools, and my main focus will be on the Pact-Python implementation initially. So what Matt was talking about before with the Pact-Python implementation still using the Ruby runtime, and now wanting to move that to the Rust core and using the FFI, so that all of the new features that are developed in the Rust core can automatically kind of very easily go into the Pact-Python implementation. So I've done a little bit of groundwork initially on getting a lot of the Rust library bundled in, getting the FFI working. There's some initial work you can see on GitHub also, focusing on the maintainer experience, because that's going to be my next thing, my next big task after this initial work with the Pact-Python. It's going to be the maintainer experience, to make sure that the contributors can feel welcome, can see and identify where to work on tasks and what jobs to pick up if there's something, if they've got an afternoon free, so that can be done easily. You can see that there's already a bit of a change in the way issues can be raised within Pact-Python and features can be raised, to kind of systematize that a little bit more. That's some initial groundwork there. And you're welcome to try that out, even if it's just to stay and test it out and just comment on it. Also looking at the contributing docs as well. You can have a look at that all on the Pact-Python repo within the Pact Foundation. And then longer term for Pact-Python, the version 3, as I mentioned, supported by Rust. It will be thoroughly typed as well. So all of the static typing goodness you get and auto completion you get with that. And I'm also looking at updating the docs on that and making sure that you get really updated API docs generated automatically from the code, and integrating that well with the docs.pact.io website. So that's my main focus initially. That's the first kind of few months for me joining this team. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Pact keeps on improving. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks for that, Josh. So just how can if people are into Python at the moment and they're itching to try it out, what can they do? Just drop into the pull request and start reviewing stuff?
Yep, yeah, there's a few PRs there, which there's a few issues outstanding at the moment. There's some which are a little bit easier to address than others. I've also done a project board on GitHub, so that people can see what's being picked up by, for example, myself. So I've got this, I'm going to start this in the next couple of days. maybe let's not double up on the work, but if there's something else in the backlog that piques your interest and you're keen to get started on that, definitely have a look on that. So yeah, again, on the Pact-Python repo within the Pact Foundation GitHub organization, and you can see the project board, you can see the issues there, so ready to go. Yeah, and even if someone wants some help as well, like if they want to put their hand up and say, yeah, I'd like to try and do this, reach out on Slack or reach out to me directly, and just ask, and then I can guide you through that. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Josh. We'd also like to welcome Serghei, I'm going to say this absolutely wrong, Iakovlev, Serghei Iakovlev, who joined. He also has a rich history in Python open source, and we'd like to give a special shout out to Mike Jeeves, who's been great compadre and contributor for the Python team. So thank you so much for that, Josh. I know you're joining in from Australia, so you can enjoy a nice nightcap, get to bed, and hopefully get on with those PRs so that everyone can get that Pact-v4 functionality. So yeah, thank you so much and welcome to the team.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you.
Brilliant. So what's next? So as Matt said, a lot of the libraries are marching towards the Rust core and bringing in the v3 and v4 functionality. So you can test your HTTP systems, your message systems, and leverage the Pact plugin functionality. So I'd like to introduce Tien Vo, who's been working on the Pact-PHP project. So it's a little bit of a hello, and I'm presenting on Tien's behalf. So Tien's been working on the Pact-PHP project for around 2 years now, and he first found out about Pact from his ex-colleague. And when he was speaking to his ex-colleague, he was discussing some of the problems he was encountering when he was working on these microservices. So those 2 pain points were testing the calls between these microservices and then the coordination of the deployment of these. So Tien took a journey, and it started with him trying to test Pact-PHP with Symfony, so a PHP framework. But he was struggling due to a bug that he found, which under a bit of investigation into the kind of GitHub repos, he identified it as being an issue with the Pact core. So he took that opportunity to But he also, whilst he was looking at the GitHub repos, he noted that Ron had been working on the Pact core rewrite to Rust. And Tien really relished this opportunity to first learn more about Pact, really by looking at how the reference implementation hangs together, but also to learn Rust. You know, it's a new up and coming programming language, and he's interested in PHP at the moment, but it's a really great experience to marry 2 kind of learning experiences together. But he did find some challenges with trying to integrate with the Rust core. So first there were some peculiarities with PHP's FFI interface itself. And he actually found that the Rust code is not so easy to read, and he was struggling to debug it at first. And then more generally, in order to find more about the Pact project, he built in his own home lab, which is pretty cool, and you can talk to him to find out more about it. He built a more production-like environment to kind of sandbox and test out his Pact-PHP changes. So what has he actually been up to? So Pact-PHP has been lagging because it's been using the Pact Ruby core. So in order to provide these v3 and v4 features, Tien has been working on and now released an alpha version of v10 of Pact-PHP, which includes the Rust core and the newer functionality. We're expecting the 3rd alpha to be published soon. We implore you to come along and help review some of those PRs. And we'd like to move that development to kind of a beta state so that both Tien, his employers, and hopefully you can try it out in your own project. So what do we need from you in order to help move this on? So we'd love more reviewing. There's some PRs that are open at the moment. We'd love more testing. If you're using Pact-PHP today in your project, we'd love you to try out this new version. And we'd love more PRs from other contributors. We know that things might not be right first time, but Tien's not expecting to do this alone. And because it's an open source community, anyone can come along and help contribute. So we'd welcome and invite you to that. So we'd love to thank Tien for all his efforts. We're really pleased to see that package being published as an alpha on packages, so Pact-PHP users can use it. And like I say, it's really nice for me to see that Pact-PHP and Pact-Python, because they are still quite popular languages, are going to benefit from these Pact features. And as Matt says, if you're looking to build a library in the future, we're going to take some of the learnings from Tien's experiences and Josh's to improve our maintainer experience. We've also got some Pact course updates. So if you check out the Docs website, you can check the Pact University. There's a few different courses on there. There's an introduction to Pact. There's a CI/CD workshop. You can learn how to create your very own Pact plugin. And you'll see some more workshops appear there as we go through the month of Pactober. One additional thing to say, they're all, because we're open source at heart, they're all MIT licensed. Please use them, share them, tweak them for your organization. They will definitely help with organizational adoption. And if you want to create a new course or you don't see a particular technology covered, please feel free to create a sample repo and then we can mob around it and implement Pact into it. And furthermore than that, feel free to share your knowledge. We can provide a platform for you. And we'd like to say a special thank you to Rafaela so bad with names, Azevedo. And she is an amazing teacher, educator, and entrepreneur. She worked on the test automation course, which you can go and check out today. But I can't do Rafaela enough justice in my own words. So I'm going to leave us with a video from Rafaela just telling us what she's been up to and how you guys can help out.
Hey y'all, I'm Rafaela and I'm the creator of Contract Tests with Pact course in Test Automation University. It is free and you can learn about the basics of contract testing, how to set up Pact framework in the project, and also continuous integration, continuous deployment. Today I'm gonna give you some updates about the course. Yeah, just a bit about me. I have 16 years experience in QA, mostly test automation, test strategy, architecture, and leadership. I have done the full cycle in the development. So I have worked not only for big corporations, but also with small startups where I had to build the QA from scratch. And I have done, played different roles and wear different hats where I had to be not only a software developer in that, but also a DevOps and a developer at the same time. So I created this blog in 2011, azvedo.com. I'm gonna share more in the end, but it is not only about the QA and it's about sharing my experience and my knowledge with the community. So you can find posts about career development, interviews with other QAs, and the challenge they overcame when moving to another country, workarounds in plugins and frameworks, bugs that are found in plugins and frameworks when testing and using in my projects, and how I learned some of the other things. And I'm actually from Brazil, a seaside town called Santos. I know that my hometown is quite famous because many footballers, they came from there. So Robinho, Pelé, and Neymar. I hate football and I'm a fake Brazilian, but yeah, that's it. And I moved to London 10 years ago. And now I'm not going back to Brazil probably ever again. Joking. I go just for holidays and see my family and friends. But yeah, now I'm in this mission to bring more developers to Web3, and is through micro-learning and having real experience with commercial projects where they can collaborate with each other. And we did that through Chain Academy. In the first published, you learn what contract tests are, when to apply them, and how to set up your test framework with Pact. It covers the advantages of contract tests, how to set up a framework using Pact.js, how to implement the test on your provider and consumer. Different types of matches you can perform with Pact, best practice for implementing a contract test framework, handling authentication and authorization, analyzing test results and common issues. And lastly, continuous integration and deployment. Pact supports a variety of languages, but the course is written on JavaScript. Don't worry, because the concepts are really similar regardless of the tech stack being used. Contract tests is a crucial aspect of software development that ensures the quality and the reliability of the software. It involves verifying the functionality of the software and the product based on predefined agreements, which describes the expected behavior of the system and provide a clear understanding of what the system should do in different scenarios. One of the biggest misconceptions is to think that contract tests by itself is enough. But without proper communication, contract tests can derail completely. It is actually a test for your communication between the teams. To overcome these challenges, it is important to use clear and well-defined contract specifications. Test early and test often. Use automated testing tools and involve all stakeholders in the testing process. Pact framework got me straight away when I was in the Greenfield project where I did a benchmark with the available tools. And then I noticed how easy it is to set up the framework, and also the maintenance is reduced to a ridiculous minimum level of running the tests again. It is one of the best strategies for when you have a complex microservices structure. And you need to test the integration with the minimum effort possible. So it always use the real thing. You don't need to worry about maintenance of the mock and creating everything from scratch. It is life-changing indeed. So yeah, the course was published in 2020, and since then, Pact had many updates, as you can imagine. The course is using 9.7.0 version, and in the present moment, we are on the 12.1.0 already. You can only imagine how out of the date it is. And the sad news is that Automation University is not going to be able to update the course so soon. So one of the things that I have in mind is, I'm a big supporter of the open source and the community. So it would be really great if we can all update the course, from the community. And one thing that I'm going to do is giving the swags to the 5 first contributors that send the PR and update the project to match with the latest version of Pact. Just need to send a message to me, a DM on Twitter with your PR created, but I can also check on the GitHub, whatever is first, I'm gonna have a look. So yeah, let's keep in touch. And if you are curious to know more how you can learn about Web3 and blockchain with micro-learning and in full stack real commercial projects, just subscribe to our newsletter, the Chain Academy, and join our Discord server. But if you are just curious about Web3 tests in general, there is a community on Discord waiting for you. All the links are on the link tree, basically. You can go and just check it out. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rafaela. If you didn't miss that, if you want to check out the links in YouTube, Joe will be providing them to Rafaela's course on GitHub. If you're able to update it to the latest Pact versions and use some of the latest Pact techniques, we've got swag for the first 5 PRs that are raised there. If you would like to participate, my apologies, let's pass that slide. So if you'd like to join our community, some of the benefits of participating, why should you get involved in participating with our community? So you can contribute to the future state of the leading contract testing framework. It's really nice to be able to be in a guiding position and being able to support your needs. So, you know, it's definitely worth, if you want to participate, get along to those weekly contributor meetings. It's great for being able to build your own profile. So as some of our speakers have said today, although contract testing is a useful technique to apply to your kind of software delivery lifecycle, it's a great thing to talk about, especially with lots of people wanting to know about it. So you can build your own profile around it. There's lots of great stuff. So Lewis's podcast, etc., and you can connect with any of the team who'll be able to give you advice. You could be here next year or at one of our other events that we do within the year, speaking or showing some of your skills. You can technically upskill. So if you're not necessarily proficient in one particular language, you can learn by example. So if you're into JavaScript or Golang, for example, you can maybe look at one of the other Pact implementations. And more importantly, you can get some swag. So we've now been able to secure some goodies to be able to provide with our community. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to our lovely Elliot, who will be able to take us to our end of the show.